Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody for
Some kickback there.
next our next installment of Hymns of the Heretics. Last time uh our player characters uh have started to uncoil and uncover and unearth some of the details around um, their dark secrets. And they did a great job last time of exploring themes and conflicts. And now we will dig in a little bit more and um, put together the kind of like the next piece. Um, I predict that by the start of the next session, we will have awakened. So today we'll start off with kind of trying to put together more of our dark secrets without fully handing them to our characters. Um, who is thinking about their dark secret and would like to um, talk about it? You know who's on my mind is Freya.
What I know. Sure, I can go first.
Okay. I think about what your parents had and have in mind for you. And like, I have a thought that I want to kind of put on the table. And unless you have something ready or something that you're thinking.
Oh no, you can go ahead. My brain's pretty blank tonight, not gonna
Cool.
lie.
Okay, perfect. So, I'm thinking this kind of will go well with your disadvantage of object of desire.
Hmm.
Um, I think it would be interesting if Freya was a little bit of like not like an not like an omen child, but like the opposite. Like, what if Freya was marked or selected by the council to be somebody special in the story of the church, somebody whose um, role in the church would be really important um, in taking everything to the next level, in surviving the apocalypse, in saving the souls of the flock. So whatever your parents were doing, it was to kind of prepare you for that role.
I like it. I think it would explain why they put up with her and haven't ejected her just yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that sounds really fitting, and I really like the idea of this kind of like not typical church member being the one that's destined for greatness.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes your like it would make your departure like it makes sense, right? Like why they're chasing you so hard. So,
Hmm.
perfect. Um, so that kind of leads us a little bit to James and what you have witnessed. So I think I want to kind of allow for and give James this piece of the puzzle, um, which is that you you recall hearing that weird chanting, those weird kind of um, what would have could very easily have been kind of like nonsense, shamala hamala, tongue, speaking of tongues, but that is not like that you've heard this and you know that this is like some sort of language that you've heard. At this point, I think James, it doesn't connect to any living language. You are 100% sure that A, this is not connected to any living language. Two, that you heard it coming out of Freya's parents' mouths when when she was like a baby and you were at their house for one reason or another. Um, any other things, James, that come up for you?
No, I think it's kind of like telling, like the connections that I'm getting here. It's something that's otherworldly, or like perhaps just kind of focused in the church itself. This
Mhm.
strange language that I keep kind of mustering up. So it's also very strange too, because I don't think like the people who did it during the bus or the van rides did it like cognitively or like intentionally, and I feel like Freya's parents did. So yeah, I'm kind of coming to grasp with that, I guess.
Yeah, perfect. Now Willow and Cole. Um, in the fiction, you two haven't had the opportunity. Wait, oh my God, don't make me fuck. Okay, yeah, Willow and Cole, siblings. Oh my God, I don't
Siblings,
know why
siblings.
I'm struggling so much with the family trees, and I have them in front of me. Okay, so you are struggling. No, you're not struggling. You have not really, in recent memory, had the opportunity to compare notes, to really have a come to Jesus moment about the strange events around Grandpa. Um, some of the things that you have picked up is that you have these freaky journals that you have both of you seen them or only Cole has?
Um, I guess in my mind, they probably one of them would have seen them and shown the other, or they would have both
Okay.
discovered them together. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I
How
agree.
how
I think
much
maybe
older?
if we're,
Go ahead.
I think maybe if we're like, I don't know, cleaning out the attic or whatever, we'd probably discover them together.
Right. Are they fairly close in age, do you think? Uh,
I would think so.
yeah.
Within like 5 or 6 years, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Who's older?
Um, I think it would be cool if Cole was older.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say by like 4 years.
Sure.
Perfect.
And you, um, and how long ago did you find these journals?
We found them when we were like, let's say, early teenagers.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then when did we like drift part after that?
Well, we haven't really said so, but what if we say that like um
Well, here's a
af
beat.
go ahead.
So here's one beat is that let's say Willow is 13. That would make Cole
Cool.
17. You find the journals at that age. A year later, you're like heading off to college.
And you kind of
That's
don't look back.
that's the time
Yeah.
to
Makes
drift.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you're gone, Cole, and the the indoctrination intensifies for Willow, and there's no one there to kind of like balance it out, right? Or to soak it up.
Yeah. So Cody, what happens with the journals? Do they stay there? Do you keep on reading them obsessively, or does Cole take them with him?
Maybe like a little bit of both. Like I'm sure, not to speak for Cole, but I'm sure Cole would probably want to take them maybe, or at least some of them. And I think Willow would be the same. Like
Mhm.
I would want to know more, but also I don't want to have them or be responsible for them.
And Cole would more likely hide them away
Okay.
because his whole thing is to push it away.
So yeah, if you want to leave them at the house, then I can just like they'll be in the attic, but I'll like sneak up there every now and again and just like pour
That's
over
cool
them.
too. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So I'm sorry, can you repeat who's keeping them?
Yeah, so it sounds like we're keeping them in the house where we found them in like and then Willow put them in the attic and kind
Okay.
of sneaks up there every once in a while to look at them. And
Yep.
then I guess help that part is part of being drawn further into the indoctrination, maybe.
Yeah.
The house where you found them?
Um,
Or our house, whichever
or
is.
Because
maybe you moved it from
okay.
grandfather's house to your house to our house. Yeah,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
grandpa and grandma are dead. So their house is probably inherited by your parents. Um
Better we sold it and I just break into a stranger's house every now and again.
Honestly, that's very Willow.
ugh. Cole would not be happy about that though, because he wants to know where there's like he doesn't want anybody discovering those things.
Right, right.
Well, let's say that happens at first a couple of times, and then Cole is like, "Oh my God, stop it!"
Here's this box with a key and a lock. Let's put him in here.
You're right, just take them. Just get them out of there.
Here, you can
Wait,
keep
And
it.
we
Just
put
keep
him,
it in this box.
sorry,
John.
sorry to chime in. So it was at a house you lived at before, and like it'd be interesting if we actually knew who the person that lived there now was. Sorry, it just even creepier. Like I get the creepy kind of levels of um, where we're at, but I just feel like if it was like I don't know the old lady that Zach's character is like living with, like,
That'd be
Mm,
good.
or if it were the
mhm.
family who we went to dinner with, like if it were somewhere that was like retroactively kind of important, that would be really kind of creepier in my
It
opinion. But
it might be, but Cole would that would not fit with Cole though, because he would not want those journals to be out there.
Right,
Like,
but like making it
Yeah.
part of the history, right? So, like Willow, part of the history now is that Willow, as a teen, well, you were off in college, like becoming educated and enlightened and like becoming a fucking liberal and shit. Willow was breaking into Ethel's house and going into because Ethel got a deal on it or whatever, whenever
okay, sure. Okay.
and then eventually when you find out, Cole, you're like, hey, Willow, this is kind of nutty. Stop. And so now, like, Ethel has probably caught Willow, which I don't know, it just makes sense because Willow, like, I think, like, Willow's weird quirk of being a liar, there's like these, it's so it's so weird and inexplicable that it kind of makes sense that he would do or that they would do something like this kind of bizarre. I don't know. I like it. I'm
Okay,
okay with it. And
sure.
then
What do you think, Andy?
As long as we feel like we have control of the journals, that's cool.
well,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
Cole, you intervene as like the older, kind of like more level-headed adult and go, okay, no, let's put them away. Let's put them at mom's house or whatever, in a locked box. And then maybe that's where they've been, locked
Cool.
Yeah.
at mom's house.
Okay.
Because I said that as a joke, but I really like that as
Well,
part of Willow's story of like just breaking into some random person's house.
So up in the attic, there's probably like empty like bottles of whiskey or whatever that's scattered around
Yeah,
the
right.
the journal box.
There's
Mm-mm-mm.
like a flashlight and like a pillow and like a set of blankets
Oh,
up there, and I'm just hanging out up there.
I love that.
and I just
An
wanted to
ashtray.
like my thought process on it
mhm,
is that, and sorry to interject again, but it's like Ethel had a vision, right?
mhm.
Like it was my like I guess it was my kind of connecting the dots. It could be like retroactively kind of linked that way too. But yeah,
Okay. Like the idea that this journal gave off some kind of weird radiation or something, or like there's something like if we can connect um
or Willow,
the Willow. What do you
like
mean?
because
Wait,
Willow's
what?
reading it in the
Oh
house,
no.
right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I
So like
mean,
it's kind of
it could
like,
affect Willow. Yeah.
well, it could affect Willow, but I mean like just the process of Willow like engaging with the book in the house where the
Hmm.
other person is. Like Willow doesn't think of
Hmm.
anything of it, and it's just where the book is, like Cody was saying,
Hmm.
but like it being connected retroactively to someone who was affected might be. Anyway, sorry. I'll I just thought it'd be a cool thing.
No, okay, yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a good link. Um, this strange these journals are like are in Ethel's house for a while, and then years down the road suddenly Ethel is having these visions. um and I would say more for Cole. you know Cole, you're connecting the dots or seeing like, okay, Ethel had these journals and she's having visions, and then now Cole has been around this book for a lot longer than I have, and or these journals, and is very like drawn and anchored to the religion in a way that I'm not. What's going on here with that? So that's one piece, is the journals and their journey. And so the other part that I kind of want to kind of put out there, and that I think we can say that this is something that has been found out in the few days that like of the events of the last few days, as like people are texting each other, there's conversations. We can I want both Cole and Willow to have this information, and we can say they come to that information in whatever mechanism we decide on. um but I think the last piece that is known to both of you about your grandfather is that he was the target of a very um he was the target of an exorcism ritual that went awry, and that was like the trigger for him to leave.
Okay, something was going on where he wrote these journals. He must have been acting in a way even strange enough so that people in the community saw it as weird and
Hmm.
wanted to do something about it. And of course, their reaction is to an exorcism, right? Of
Hmm.
course.
Of course.
Okay, of course. Yeah.
I like it.
Now, Marsha. Marsha, we talked about your town's rejection of you and how you have started to build up this understanding that it wasn't like it wasn't like something that happened, you know? Like there was a concerted effort um to hurt you and to oust you. And I'm wondering if you've thought about like why that would be or how or like what the context of that would be.
I'll be honest, I haven't, because you said it had something to do with faith and the religion,
Mm-hmm, hmm.
and I feel like she's in it, but I don't know.
Well,
Um,
my thought for you, Marcia, is that it's kind of like a mirror of Freya. Um, I want to say that in your town, somebody got the idea that you had like the root of evil in you, that um you were so like entwined with the devil that there was no way for them to redeem you. And I think like the thing about Marcia is that on the surface, right, she's very sweet and very like kind of kind and this like sweet church lady kind of energy. But beneath the surface, there's this kind of like I don't know, this I don't know how to describe it, like a savageness. And maybe that's what they detected. I don't know yet. I'm not sure. But because of that, I think the these cliques that formed in this church of yours where you came from, they singled you out as a scapegoat, and they decided that you were um like that you had to be removed. And so they turned your husband against you, encouraged him to cheat. And when everything blew apart, that's why you didn't receive the support that you know, probably deserved. And it was all kind of rooted in the excuse that you, Marcia, were so um like just un what's the word? Unsavable. I don't know, is that too dark?
No, I like it.
Okay.
Someone has to be the. I feel like in sometimes in churches, there's always that one that has to be, like in ours right now, how Freya's the one.
Yep.
Someone has to be the rot, and you have to make an example and extract it.
So yeah, and now you have an opportunity to like flip the script. Okay. Um, Josh, glad to have you back this time.
Thanks.
Um, so last time we started to kind of piece together our dark secrets, and I've been thinking about that like marathon that Josh and his family had been running before he decided to just stay um, in bee caves. What do you have something in mind about the nature of whatever has been chasing and had been chasing the family? And Zach, if you're talking, you're muted. I'm so sorry. I need a sec. Okay, gotcha. That's great.
Sorry. Say that again. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
The family secrets. I've been on the run from the past.
Yeah, been on the run. So I
And
guess
my
the
parents are
question is,
still on the run.
they're still running. So the
Yes.
question is, what do you think was after you all? Do you have an idea?
I don't think Josh would have any idea whether it's a person or a thing. That was all kept hush hush from his parents. He doesn't
Hmm,
know if they're running from something that could find them or something that's actually after them, if they just didn't want to be contacted by old family or anything. He really was never given that information. And when he's got to an age where he could really ask those questions, his parents fucked off and left him.
right. So here's what I'm thinking, and I think that this information could be delivered again to Josh in any way that we choose. Um, so I think why exactly it's like so unspoken with Josh's parents, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the secret is that your parents, um, because you've always been involved in a church, I would want to say that your parents have
Hmm.
been kind of traveling from node to node of kind of occult power.
Hmm.
And there is a specific power, a specific source that ties them all together.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's your main secret is that being being attached to these places has kept you safe in some way. Um, we know looking from the outside, we know that people who know too much are often targeted by these kind of unseen powers.
Hmm.
And I think that was your family. I think your family had seen something, knew something, was um were awakened to the truth, and
Right.
maybe they knew that if they opened that to you, it would be too destructive for you, maybe. Um,
It's one of
and
those things that like you don't want to open the door for the kid, but like when the kid is old enough, he can find the door himself.
yeah, and maybe they hope you'll never find the door.
True.
Because if you open the door,
Or if the door is opened for you, it tends to be too much for that individual and they reject it. So you have to come to that discovery on your own. That could be
yeah,
why the parents abandoned Josh, because Josh needs to come and he needs to awaken on his terms. They can't just awaken him, or
perfect.
his mind might reject the other side.
So one, running because family's connection to awakening. Two, it was a secret because awakening had to be um had to come separately. Um and so you I feel like you and Marsha are the ones that are the most in the dark.
Hmm.
Almost everyone else has, I mean, by the nature of living in this creepy community, have has had sort of an almost like gradual exposure. Um, but then again, maybe you have too, Josh. I mean, over the years, who knows what kind of weird things were happening around you that maybe looking back, you think, oh, I thought that was a dream, but maybe, they were doing something weird, in the back room of the church. Or, maybe that time that we like drove through a tunnel and it felt like we were in there for days. It's like maybe we were in there for days.
Hmm.
So those little memories are starting to
Right.
like take on a different
Those times
flavor
that
and
I thought was
texture.
in like a dark, creepy, enchanted forest where the trees would move on their own, I might have been in a weird, different dimension where the trees were moving on their own,
Right.
for sure.
Okay. Perfect. So last time, we kind of covered the days after that really exciting Sunday. Freya, let's see. Freya and Cole were at the hospital where Cole got their arm put in a sling, and um, no, Freya and Willow. Freya and Willow were at the hospital. Willow's arm and put in the sling. Cole was uh,
He was at home
was at
with
home.
Jenny, visited by those two elders. No, visited by the sort of bumbling elderly couple who were like tasked with being their sponsors. Is that right? And I think
That
at the end was that, or was it that the leaders, that the
hold
leaders
on.
couple?
We're not there quite yet. So
Okay,
I
okay.
think so like in the aftermath, Cole went, got Jenny, and then that night is when there was a dinner, right? So the same with James. James headed home, Marsha headed home. Everyone got together for dinner and then got paired off.
Mhm.
So this is a piece where let me okay, so Freya and Marsha got paired up, right?
Mm.
Willow and James got paired up. Uh, Cole
They're
and Jenny got paired up with the old folks.
right.
Josh, I think you are going to be spared a new like getting gonna be spared like having a buddy to like keeps tabs on you because that's Ethel for you pretty much.
Hmm.
So um there's that. Okay. And we got to there was some nights went by, so we got to check out Cole's exciting nightmare. Cole's nightmare was Grandpa returning to um, strangle him from beyond the grave. So Josh, let's take this next beat um, for you and Ethel. Um, you experience the whole um, visions incident. You had to uh, a very fancy home to enjoy dinner with church leadership and everybody else who uh, was either a witness to or experienced a vision, minus one person who is still in the hospital because James gouged their eye out by accident.
That never
Whoops.
happened. There's no proof of that. There's no proof that it didn't happen. I was a hero. I saved him. I saved his life.
And then so you're at this meeting with Ethel, Josh. I imagine that as kind of scared and nervous as Josh is, uh, I don't think he probably would have done anything to draw too much attention to himself.
The opposite, because he's scared and nervous, he's trying to like slink into the background, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So, you go, you see everybody getting paired up, kind of assigned what you I don't know if Josh would detect like oh they're just snitches. They're like being assigned snitches. Or if yeah, maybe not because it's not like he is like real street smart or anything. But anyway, so you and Ethel head home and she encourages the two of you to pray before bed and you have an opportunity to engage in a um, a distraction. You have some time before bed to um, to distract yourself from the truth and to enable you to remain asleep. So typically that's like, playing video games, watching TV, social media, pornography, anything that kind of takes up your mind, and keeps you from connecting the dots. Do you think that Josh would take time to do that before going to bed?
Oh yeah, 100%. He's the kind of dude
Yeah,
who like goes down the 4chan forums for hours before he goes to sleep at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
perfect. So, on the forums, so not crawler, right? Like not um, the like not like so if crawler is our Reddit, right? It would not be that because that's like too it's full of normies.
Right. He'd be
You're
into
gonna
like the hardcore stuff.
the hardcore stuff. Perfect.
Probably not like dark web, but like 4chan. You know what I mean?
Right,
That
right,
kind of
right, right.
level of like forum.
Where the freaks are at.
Yeah. The
Okay.
problematic peeps live.
So finally you drift off to sleep, your phone kind of like hanging out of your hand. Go ahead and roll your nightmares disadvantage.
Oops, sorry, the nightmares disadvantage
Hmm.
there. Success.
Beautiful. A resounding success. You probably dream about whatever nonsense you dug up on the forums.
Hmm.
You definitely don't have any nightmares about, being chased in the night.
Heard.
All right, so we are all kind of caught up. Now, I would like for Willow to do my favorite thing that I've ever experienced playing Cult. Willow, roll your liar disadvantage.
Really gonna make me do it, huh?
Hey, at the start of every session is what it
Excellent.
says in the book. So,
Thank you, book. Yeah, okay.
okay, partial success. I have you at two holds now.
Okay.
And so the week goes by. Josh, you have your couple of shifts at Bucky's. You notice Marcia inviting one of y'all's coworkers to to church on Sundays, which is definitely expected and desired by the church. Uh, uh, James and Jenny go through all the stuff that go through the nightmare. You go over to Nayeli Young's house, Melvin and Nayeli Young's house. You receive ministerial counseling
So this is
where you're
Cole,
just
Cole and Jenny. Cole and Jenny.
Thank you. I was
Cole
like,
and Jenny.
what am I
Did I
doing
say
with
Cole?
Andy's character's wife?
Oh, I said James. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
No problem.
Cole, you and Jenny. James is not stealing your wife. You and Jenny um,
Yeah.
head to you had that kind of like that last um, kind of counseling session, and you basically in that moment had committed to giving it a shot. So in the days that follow, you think like you don't have any more nightmares. Um, Anytime that you're with Jenny, she, encourages you to engage in prayer. Um, she seems relieved that you're not having frightening experiences again. Do you think as the days go by that your commitment to show more devotion, open your mind to belief, is it as strong as that night or that day when you were so afraid?
So I think in Cole's mind, would it be okay if Cole in those intervening days would have maybe gone to the attic and looked through the journals?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in going, what he's thinking in his mind is that the nightmare seemed really scary, but he doesn't know if the answer to the nightmare is more devotion to the religion. Although he's doing it,
Okay.
he might think that there's something else going on, that's not explained, something that might be connected to the journals.
Well, let's look at the logistics for a second.
Hmm.
Um, it's getting closer and closer to Sunday, right? I feel like Sunday is sort of like our doom clock for everybody, right? Like that's
Yeah,
when we
for
all have
Cole,
to
it definitely
Uh-huh.
seems like it.
that's when we all have to face our fears is on Sunday, except for fucking Willow and Marcia who are like, "Woo, it's Sunday." Yes. Um, okay, so you are caring for your baby,
Mhm.
but you want to go to your dad's house because your mom has passed away. You're going over to dad's house to go hang out in his attic.
So
What are you
there's
doing with that
definitely like
baby?
a neighbor who could babysit pretty
A
regularly.
neighbor.
Yeah, let's say there's a neighbor who would watch Kaylee for periods of time as needed.
Okay. Okay. So are you leave your baby with some NPC.
Yes, who's done this before, maybe lives
Okay.
next door or something like that, and it's,
Okay.
a regular deal on occasion.
Got it. And you go over to your dad's house. Let's see, what did I name your dad? Dad. Lobo. Oh, God, I love that.
Lobo.
Okay,
Wow.
your dad
Just
is
wow.
super hot, okay?
Is he?
Yeah. So, he is, older. Um, he is definitely a true believer. He has kind of dark hair with white streaks in it. He looks a little bit more uh, kind of Mexican American than you and your sibling do.
Hmm.
Uh, and he is retired, let's say, and hanging around in the kitchen, smoking a cigarette. No, wait, do we smoke in this religion? We don't really. So let's say he is sitting at the kitchen table. He has the Bible open. He is kind of poring over it. Um, and you can tell his eyes are kind of like when, like when someone has been crying, their
Mm.
eyes are red and puffy. and you probably have a key to get in.
Sure.
He looks up.
Hey, Dad, you okay?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Why
You miss.
wouldn't I be okay?
Oh, it's okay to miss Mom.
Cole, don't start with that shit.
Oh boy.
What is it? What do you want?
Are we on bad terms? I'm sorry, out of character. Are we on bad
I
terms?
think he's missing your mom. He's missing your mom, and he doesn't like that gentle, um, like feminist husband thing that you bring. I
Oh,
don't think he likes that.
got it. Very interesting. Okay, got it.
He's a member of this patriarchal cult. So,
Yep, yep, yep. Okay,
I mean, so for him, like wanting to talk, like you telling him it's okay to have feelings is like, what? What
sure.
are you talking about? What are you? Shouldn't you be at? He says, shouldn't you be at work? And then like the words like choke in his throat. Oh, shouldn't you be taking care of the baby?
Yeah, neighbors watching, you know.
A neighbor's watching you. You got your woman working, and you're okay between you and Willow. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Just what do you need, Cole?
Oh, I'm just gonna pop up to the attic, look for some old CDs that I can't find at home. I think they might be upstairs in the attic. And he would
What
just
you
go and
should be
do that.
looking for is you should be looking for the word of the Lord, not for old CDs, Cole. But go on, go on ahead.
Uh-huh. I will. And he does.
I also love how I got tacked on there as a disappointment.
Oh yeah, we're both disappointments. Um, yeah. So he's gonna find one of the journals, like maybe one that he's looking for, lock it back up and put it in his back pocket. I imagine they're not too big. Um, maybe soft cover, and he'd walk downstairs.
Did you say soft cover? Oh my God, I thought soft cover like you
In
were
other
trying
words,
to not get shot,
he could like bend it and put it into his
but you're
like
talking about the book.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the book. Sorry.
Okay.
Um, well, Dad, I'm sorry we're such a disappointment to you.
You don't have to be a disappointment, Cole. You just have to follow the word of the Lord.
And then he would say, "Praise be," and walk out.
Yes.
Well, you've got this journal with you,
Mhm.
and you can do
And
that.
he would pick up Kaylee, go back to the house, and while she was taking her nap, he would just sort of look over it. And so, like in his mind, he's like, because this gets back to the question that you asked earlier, like he doesn't know if the solution to the problem that he had with the nightmare is more devotion to the church or maybe figuring out what these journal entries are about. Was there
So
something else going on?
you, Cole,
Hmm.
are making a connection between a loony old journal from your dead grandfather
Hmm.
and a dream that had kind of real life consequences. I think that at this point, as you're leafing through it, you can roll to see through the illusion.
Boy, this seems important. Here we go. That is a failure. Because in Cole's mind, like the kind of religious devotion that everyone's practicing is not necessarily, he just doesn't know. He just doesn't know. He's a little, he's giving it a try. It's not like he's being, no, he's giving it a try.
So, you are leafing through this book, and kind of like no matter how you like turn it upside down, like you hold it up to the light to like see through the page, like none of it is understandable. There's no like true cadence of language on these pages. There's sigils. Well, let's say,
I mean, he's read these journals before. He knows what they say, right?
right, but you're digging for some kind of explanation, for some kind of meaning,
Right.
and you don't you don't find any string of like legible or understandable narrative, but you strain and you squint and you open your mind in a way that you probably never have before, now that these kind of weird things are happening around you.
Hmm.
And you notice that the words, or rather the symbols and the forms, are like moving around on the page in front of you.
So he's gonna take this journal and find a place that Jenny would never look and sort of keep it there for now. Doesn't want to bring it back just yet. He certainly doesn't want to go see his dad at the moment. And then if he can't make sense of it, he's gonna.
So you're seeing the images in the book move around on their own.
Oh, okay, so that's what I'm seeing. Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay, okay. Well, that would be really creep him out. That would definitely be really weird. He's never seen this before. Is that right?
right.
Okay.
So
He's
you
gonna take.
just shut it.
He's gonna take out his phone and he's gonna take a video. Does he see it through the video?
When you open your phone and you start to record, it's all like VHS static.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that. Um, yeah. So let's say he would put it away, but like every hour or so, he's gonna put it back in his pocket. He's gonna open it up and look at it again. So he just can't let go of that.
The moment you like try to close it, you like it its edges kind of grow sharp and they cut through your fingertips.
Whoa. Wow. Okay.
I
Yeah.
did.
What's that?
Don't read the
Um,
chat. Don't read the chat. Don't read the chat.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
it only gets worse if you read the chat.
It's okay.
So,
Okay.
I stole your bit on a Friday on Candle Obscura. So, yeah, Liz is playing a journalist in that game. So, it's fine. It's all bleed
okay.
over.
Uh, uh, so you,
So I'm holding the book open. I've got blood on my fingers.
mhm.
What happens when the blood gets on the page?
The kind of images, I mean, they're barely images, right? They're sort of blots of ink and rough, squiggly sigils. They kind of all move out towards the edges, and there's like a blank circle that is in the middle of it.
And he would just say out loud, "What are you?"
You don't get a response. Um, the that circle, that surface begins to ripple like water, and a like veiny, fleshy, flayed hand bursts through
Oh God.
and latches itself around your throat.
Oh wow. So I'm gonna try to close it up.
Go ahead. Well, first you're gonna roll to
Avoid injury.
roll to avoid
Keep it
injury.
together. Okay.
Well, probably all. So let's do it in order. So I
Okay.
think you first, let's deal with your terror. Roll to keep it together.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, you grit your
Got it
teeth.
together.
Okay, so now roll to avoid harm.
Partial success.
Okay, so you will sustain some harm. Like you are so frightened that you lunge backwards and the hand misses your head or your throat and kind of goes flying behind you, but the razor sharp edges of the book slide against your skin. Roll to endure injury one, or harm one.
Avoid harm one.
Hmm. Partial success. Oh, no, 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 I'm sorry. Endure injury.
Endure injury. Well, I can keep
Well, we
mine.
can use this roll, I think.
Is it,
So it would
well,
have been an 11,
okay.
which I think is still a partial success. So
Yeah.
you will take a wound.
Okay.
Um, It'll be a laceration and it'll be on the side of your neck.
I
So I'm
click
gonna
edit.
go ahead and add it.
Oh, you can do it for me. Okay.
Um, when you kind of wheel around to look at the book, it's sitting on the floor.
Okay. I pick it up and I look at it again.
It just looks like a regular schmegular journal,
Yeah.
written by a very sick old man.
I'm gonna keep it in the house, but lock it away somewhere where I don't think Jenny would find it. And this is really, he doesn't understand this at all. He doesn't understand how this has anything to do with the Lord or Satan. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's of God, that's for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So his like inclination is not to like confess this, but to keep it to himself.
Okay.
Cool.
So we'll take a beat. We'll leave you in that attic for a moment. Um,
He's back
you
home.
okay, so you went down the stairs bleeding and didn't say anything to your dad.
No, no, I'm sorry. I took the I
Oh, you had
basically
taken it
I
back
walk it.
home.
Yeah, I was like, praise
I
be,
remember now.
and he left, and then he went back home and did this at home,
Okay.
while Kaylee was napping.
Okay. Great. Um, so let's take a beat and we will check in with your dear sibling Willow. Willow, you are also starting to piece together the kind of, the history of your grandfather, his experiences, putting together these strange journals, his exorcism, his departure uh, from the church, uh, as when he went to join the GLS, God's Lovely Servants. Um, you have been on this journey to, or you have been kind of like on this road to like maintain your um your professional capacity as a professor, to be a devout member of the church and set a great example for everybody else. Um, you um, also have, I think, an appointment with James, right? Willow?
That's correct.
Okay. So what, if anything, is your response to this sort of like burgeoning realization about Grandpa, if anything?
I think it's something that Willa's very interested in. I poured over those journals for years, kind of on my own. Um, but there are bigger things right now, and like
Hmm.
it's I got to focus on me in this new space and getting what I want here. So like if I see Cole, I might mention it to them, but it's not something that's going to be on my front of my mind.
Okay. So probably the next thing is to get together with James, right?
Yeah, I think that's really the big thing that's on my horizon right now.
And you agreed to meet at the studio or at the office?
Yeah, I think at James Studio, if I remember correctly, or wherever the paper gets written.
Yeah, office, I would say.
Yeah.
And James, the office operates out of like um like an office building or what?
So yeah, I imagine it's basically like if there's a downtown,
Hmm.
it's probably some, the very small kind of thoroughfare for the downtown of the town. It's just like a couple of brick buildings, and it's the upstairs of some bar, right?
Hmm.
And it just
Perfect.
serves as where he basically gets the manuscripts ready, and then he goes down a couple blocks to where the printing press is, like the
Hmm.
actual newspaper spot, and they've got a couple people who work there. Most of their work is probably printing like other stuff for other people, like maybe what are the schedules or the pamphlets that are given at church every Sunday that tell you what the church is doing for the Sunday. I know that it has a name. I can't think of what they're called though. That
I know exactly what
Somebody,
you mean, and I've never considered that it has a name.
it has a name. I don't know what the name is. It's right on the tip of my brain. It's oh my god, and I'm just waiting for someone else for it to drop, the shoe to drop. But it's like a schedule of like what the church is going to do. Like it'll be like prayer and then song and then
hmm
thing and then refreshments is like usually the last one.
hmm
It's been a while since I've been to church, folks.
So we'll call it an agenda, although I'm sure
Sure.
there's, a much more appropriate term that I, a heathen, would know. So, Willow, you
Bulletin.
get the
Bulletin.
bulletin. Okay,
It's a
perfect.
bulletin. I was thinking whistle,
Elizabeth,
but that's
thank
not
you.
right.
I think my Google loaded it and you said it in the chat at the same time. Thank you. But yeah, the bulletins, those are printed with that printing press, and it's probably where they get most of their finances. The
Got
papers,
it.
like, whatever.
Okay. Willow, you pull up. You kind of see like the stairs that lead up to the office, through the glass of the bar on, on the first floor. You can see a couple of like alcoholic old timers, sipping on beers, in the middle of the afternoon. Um, what do you do, Willow?
Make my way. Do I have to go through the bar to get to the office, or is there like a side stairwell?
I would say you don't have to go through the bar.
I might go through the bar anyway and just like kind of nonchalantly, obviously put a pamphlet for the church on the bar and then go upstairs.
The bartender is this like bleach blonde woman in a pink tank top with like huge fake breasts and like skin like textured leather. What the hell do you think you're doing? Don't pick that up. You can't leave that there. No solicitation.
I'm not solicitating, I'm just saving your soul.
I
Just
said,
keep on walking.
oh, good gravy. And you abandon them to their sin and you head up.
Yep. Yep.
Um, James, you get a text from her. Um,
I was wondering about that.
we'll call her Gemma. She sends you a text. Hey James, you're a great tenant and all, but remind your people that they can't be proselytizing in here.
Yep.
No solicitation.
I take that as meaning that Willow is on time. So James will get up. He'll open up the door and just leave it open, and then immediately walk back to his seat, um, and like continue kind of like preparatory work on the typewriter. So Willow would probably be entering into the sound of the typewriter. The kind of heat is it taxes heat, but like on an upstairs floor. And I believe
Uh-huh.
that has certainly created an effect in the space where the wood has a smell that has kind of permeated throughout. And it just also has like a very like ink smell as well that just kind of settles, like almost you know like the corpse of media, like just burgeoning in the sun.
Aw.
But when you come in, James will say, hello, Willow. Yeah, have a seat," and gestures to the space across his desk.
I'll sit down, get comfy, conversational, probably talk about the weather. You
Yeah,
know,
it's hot.
it's hot. It's always hot.
So, I guess my main questions for you. You were at the scene of the accident. Um, you saw everything that kind of happened there. Um,
Uh-huh.
and you also saw the videos that Marcia posted later.
I did, yeah.
So it wasn't unique to our van, right?
I guess it wasn't. I don't know if how many other vans were affected, but it seems pretty widespread.
Yeah, I just.
Let me take a beat. Willow, you would know for a fact that everyone affected was at dinner on Sunday.
Okay. So we would know it was more than a few vans that were.
Right. It was, well, no, you would know it was exactly three vans.
Okay, gotcha.
And yeah, like I definitely noticed that
And do we know how many vans are at the church? Like what percentage of van was
Yeah,
affected?
let's say there's like 15.
it's too many
Okay,
vans.
gotcha.
It's way
It's
too many.
actually pretty concentrated then.
Um, and I guess James would kind of like lead into. Um, so yeah, you noticed it was kind of widespread, and the people who had these events or were kind of directly involved in them were invited over, and so were some members of the council, right? So I don't want to get too much into that, um, since I've already been reprimanded for posting too much about the church and stuff. But I just want to check if you have any comments you want to make, be it, um, just details about the day, details about the event, the crash, or if there's just anything you want to say about the church that you personally want to, just get on paper. And when he says,
Yeah, yeah, I think
like the
okay.
vibe for him, sorry, just like when he says put on paper, it's not like like he's excited to get these questions answered. And I think like just us outside of the game from a perspective see that James is kind of kowtowing to like demands in this interaction
Mhm.
from the onset. I'm basically just letting you, a person who is now favored by the church, just proselytize in text. So
Right. Just now I see that you're doing your thing, so I can go report back on it.
yeah,
But yeah, as Willow, I agree. I think keeping private church matters private is a good thing. And you covered the day well. I think I would just add that it was uh very out of the blue, very unexpected. It's nothing that we in the church have ever really seen before. We've seen people talking in tongues, but this was something very new. And I think anybody who's interested should come to the church. I think we offer quite a lot, especially just in terms of salvation of your soul. It's a place where you can be, where you actually have hope of being saved, and I think that's something that needs to come across in the paper.
he kind of reaches over to a very old walk, like a recording set that he started up when he asked you the questions. It's almost like the one
Mhm.
from Home Alone, right? It's like one of
You're
those
right.
like classic gray with a cassette tape in it, and he'll click it off and he'll say, "You work at the you work at the university, right?"
I know.
This is off the record. I just have some questions for you, Willow.
Sure.
Um, and what do you teach there?
I never thought about that.
What's your
Let's say history.
okay? So you teach history, right?
Mhm.
Do you feel in class yourself having to kind of correct the record in history when it comes to matters that intersect with the church?
I find that my personal views and the views of the church should not interfere with education. There are accepted facts, whether the church agrees with them or not, that I have to teach to continue teaching.
Okay,
However, if a student is or does seem to be interested, I will absolutely let them know that other views do exist.
sure. But when you're teaching, like you don't find it necessary, like if you're teaching, about the history of, say, like maybe the Catholic Church and its influence on things, or John F. Kennedy and his Catholicism. You don't really bring up our church in the middle of class, do you?
Not much, no. At most, I will say that there are some religions that disagree. I
Of
won't
course.
push the church on my students unless, again, some of them seem receptive to it. But that would happen outside of class. I don't see the need to preach to them about our church.
So you aren't reprimanded by the church for this.
Not as of yet. There may come a day where I am, but not as of yet.
And if you report this back, that's fine. I just feel bad. Were you chosen for your job by the church? Or was it a job that you came to on your own?
That's actually, Jusha, what I wanted to ask. Was because I feel that I would have kind of jumped into this religion pretty early in my life. So would this have been something the church would have assigned?
Yeah, you and Cole were raised in the church, so you were likely um encouraged to go into I mean, I don't know, we can play it however you want to play it. I would say since you no, let's say this. You went all in um as a young adult and the church council wanted you to study history and to become a scholar of history. They said, this is where your strengths are, and this is what you should do. And you did it.
Can I
Gotcha.
just
And if I happen to talk to a few students outside of class and bring them to the church, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, if you want to do that, you can do that.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I just um, I have a jab I want to throw out. What job did they decide for Cole? Sorry. Sorry.
Ah, I think
Shade.
Cole would have been like assigned to work on the like oil, like in
Gulf.
the oil rigs out on the ocean.
In the Gulf, yeah, that makes sense.
Nice.
And Cole's like, I don't think so. I don't want to do that.
I don't think so.
Okay, so this is great. I like this. So let's take a beat here. One, um, you would know, by the way, and so this is Cole. Wait, no, not Cole. Um, Willow. Okay, this is somewhere where the truth could get a little bit juicy for you.
Hmm.
Let's say you had to teach a Texas history class.
Sure.
There are scriptural differences between what the church says happened in Texas in the early 1900s and what history says.
Mhm.
You probably it probably isn't in the curriculum that you like it's not something that you have to cover because your church isn't like a big enough like Texas history like thing where it's definitely going to be covered in the curriculum, but no one would bat an eye if it did come up
Mhm.
because it is very Texan. One,
Mhm.
two, um, you would definitely be expected by the church to give their version of events versus what is accepted by scholars of Texan history. So I'm going to say that I'm going to expend a hold and that you just lied to
Uh-oh.
James.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Because yeah,
You
I
actually,
would cut like if that was an option of I could tell it the way that the church wants me to tell it, I would.
But there'd be a
But like
rub.
if the church was like you need to lie about what happened in World War II, like no. But yeah, if it's something specific to the church, I would definitely tell
right.
it. So yeah, we could just say that I lied.
So for example, the church maintains that your church founder, like, was a founder of a town here in this area, and that is not the case.
I would tell my
They
students it was the case.
Right, exactly. So basically, I don't know what Willow does in their mind to like excuse that because Willow has access to the record and knows that these things are not true. Um, okay, so that's a beat. So now we've established that you have lied to James.
But on behalf of the church. I got it. My character doesn't know that though.
Right.
So his last question was, "Did the church give you your job?" Willow would have said yes, right? I mean, unless Willow wants to lie more.
Willow, do you want
Yeah.
to keep
No,
lying? Oh,
I would tell you the truth there.
And
damn
so he
it.
would say, "So yeah, I just feel like they gave me my job. My dad used to run this place before me. He, worked his fingers to the bone here, right at this very desk, right over this very uh, typewriter, and worked with the same people I work with still, who print everything we see, all throughout the town. And I just feel like, if it was God ordained for me to do this job, I'm supposed to do it right. I'm supposed to do it the way it's supposed to be done, and the way I was taught by my dad, and the way I've learned in school and the like, is you just report what you see. You try to find the truth of everything that you see, so you're not reporting something based on misunderstanding or something that you think you saw, but might not have been the case. And you don't report from outside biases, right? You just report what you see. That's why I didn't go into what the church was doing. I didn't go into, too much into what was happening with Marsha's video, just what was on the video, because I didn't talk to too many of the folks out there. Not many folks were willing to talk to me, um, and I didn't go too deep into that. It wasn't my business. Wasn't something I could report on truthfully or honestly, and that's really important to me. And so, yeah, I've just been dealing with that, and folks in the council told me to, if anything, if I ever report anything on the church, I have to show them first. Do they make you do stuff like that for the school?
I'm gonna stick with the lie and say they don't force me to. It's not something that's expected of me. But I think there's a larger reason for that in education. If I want to remain as a teacher, there are truths and facts that I must keep to.
Sure.
If I have the ability to tell my students everything about our church and why the church is correct in what we say. But if I do that, I risk not being able to provide for the church or fulfill my purpose for the church.
So,
And I think that's true for you as well. It's your father was a member of the church, you're a member of the church. This is something that the church has ordained for you. And it's important to remember that. It's important to keep the church in mind in everything that you write.
and I mean, I do. Marsha's, video was so well received by everybody on Sweet Space, and everybody was really focused on, like, it being a miracle, even though some of the things that were said were really scary stuff. And I've been doing a lot of research on the language that was being spoke by the driver there, Mario, and it doesn't exist. It's not even. It doesn't even have similar kind of verbality with like speaking in tongues. And we've seen it a lot, Willow. We've been in the church together a lot. We've seen folks speaking in tongues, and I mean, in my heart of hearts, I know that some people who are doing it feel God moving through them. That's got to be true, right? But there's got to be some folks who probably just want to join in on this revelation. And
Let's take a
For
beat.
sure.
So you, Willow, are hearing things that on the surface are kind of like fair and true, but that if they were to be uttered in front of people in power at the church would be controversial. The church will maintain that every single person who has ever spoken in tongues in the church is being moved to do so by the Holy Spirit.
to Marsha, she's
Um,
fucking faking it.
Especially Marsha, their golden child. Um, and also, um, that as much as you have argued that, like, well, I as a teacher have to like toe the line or I'm going to get fired, that if they ordered if they ordered you to sacrifice your job that to do something that would get you fired from being a teacher, that you would do it. You should do it because God's will is interpreted by the council, not by you. So I want you to go ahead and roll your fanatic disadvantage.
Oh,
Beautiful. You are hearing these kind of controversial beats coming out of James, and you're filing them away, you're processing them, you're learning more about him, and you don't flip the fuck out.
Right. And I'm glad I succeeded there because that's what I'm trying to do. Like
Yeah.
I I
Well,
came here to do a job,
it's
and so
hard
I want
for
to
a fanatic, right? To
right,
keep their feelings in check,
right.
but you did
Just
it.
feel like, you know, I I might be wrong, but I just feel like them telling me what to print after telling me to do the job feels contradictory. If they wanted someone to just print whatever they said, why'd they have me learn from my dad? Why did they have me? Why my dad never tell me about that? Why was it the case that I went to school for this? You know. So I've just been
I
struggling.
think we went to school to learn how to do it, but how we do it is dictated by our religion and by our beliefs. And so with things that don't pertain to the church, I think you're right. I think you should report them as you see fit, as you were taught to do. But with things that do pertain to the church, it's important that we remember the commitment that we made and the commitment that our families have made
Yeah.
to keep the church in a good light and to always promote our beliefs.
So I'm going to move into this next beat of dialogue. I want like everyone, especially the storyteller, to understand the James's kind of click there, right?
Okay.
What Willow just said in James's mind, it falls back to the falsities of the church, right? It's very
Hmm.
much a canned answer. So
Yeah.
James is very much like this isn't going to go anywhere,
Right.
and I know that Willow is here to report on me.
Hmm.
So James is basically flipping the switch and is going to go, you know, I'm really glad I brought these concerns with forward with you, Willow. You're such a beacon in the church, and I feel like you've really kind of given me some insight here. And I think the story I'm going to tell, the part I'm going to put in the interview with you, the information you've given me so far, and everything, I think that's really going to, you know, shine a light on the church in a positive way. And that's really all I want to do is just to make up for what I did on Monday. And I think that's the best I can do. When it comes to reporting the church, you're right. It's the council that is guiding us, and I know they're the ones that gave me this job. So I should consult with them when it comes to the church, when I'm doing the job about them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out. And he'll kind of reach up and kind of like hold his hands to like shake Willow, shake their hands.
Yeah. And I'll stand up and very very happily like I've totally done something here. Shake your hand and say as I'm kind of heading out the door, like I'm
Well,
remembering.
before he lets you go, he's gonna say, "Oh, and if I have you over, if you stop by in the future, the folks downstairs, um, it very much is a situation where I'm paying them rent, and they get really annoyed about. I've already tried to save them. They're lost, um, but unfortunately, it's the only space in town that really is renting out for this kind of work, and it's the only space that I have available to me to be able to do this kind of work. So I know we want to teach everybody about the church and the way and Jesus and God and everything, but uh, they'll probably hold it against me if we leave any kind of literature or anything with them. She called up after you came in.
For sure. I'll be more careful
I
next time.
appreciate that. I
Sometimes
mean,
the urge is too strong.
I've been here for a better part of a decade or longer still. Yeah, with my dad, hanging out, and I saw him try, and you know, Gemma's old husband was a little bit more receptive, but then they got a divorce, and he headed off on to Austin, I think. So it's just a very it's a very a strange situation. When the time's right for her, I think she'll come to the light, but she's in a very dour place, and she's also very bitter when it comes to people trying to tell her things when she thinks she's right. So sorry about
Of
that.
course, of course. No, not my apologies. Just remember, I'll remember to be careful when I come and be respectful to your space. But remember that the church must always come first in everything that we do.
Of course, and yeah, if I hadn't had already
Ugh.
tried, if I hadn't already tried with Gemma and the people down there, I'd say let's do it together. But again, I've been doing it. You know, he kind of gestures over to like a filing cabinet, and on top of it, there's like a couple of old pamphlets that have like beer stains on them for people who use them as coasters and stuff. And he's just like, it's yeah. I try to save the ones that I can. I haven't the heart to throw out the ones I wasn't.
We're not a lost cause, just lost for now.
That's right. I'll keep trying, but again, on their terms a little bit, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for coming out.
And we'll all kind of go their way and hope that something stuck.
Shut the door, go to the back room that smells very much like the only space that smells like cigarettes, and I'm just gonna chain smoke. I'm just gonna.
I think that's a fair response. Yeah, so it does feel a little bit claustrophobic, right? To have this, it's hard with Willow because they're breathing down your neck, they're keeping an eye on you, they're towing the line, and they're also kind of nice, right?
I think that's why James kind of like initially fell for it and thought there might be like when I shut off the I was like maybe there's a connect here. And I think
Yeah, yeah.
James was basically reaching out for like a hand to help him with his mental struggles here. And I think if it had gone slightly different, there would have been a lot. I mean, I kind of hinted at it. Like,
Yeah.
I want to talk about what's going on. I
hmm
want to figure this out. But
And Willow
there's
said, I want you to toe the line, honey.
yeah, I want you to
Right,
believe
right.
the people who are saying. What did you say it was for the speaking in tongues with Shamala? What was it?
Shamala Hamala.
That one, yeah. That yeah.
It's a TikTok reference. But anyway.
I haven't seen it.
So, um, uh, do we mind if we take like a 5 minute break?
Ad break.
Hmm.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Bye break. All right, we're back. Hope everybody had a good break. Glad we're enjoying the BRB screen. Let's see. So we have enjoyed a little bit of Willow and James kind of sparring in a way. I wanted to. I'm curious what it's like for Marsha and for Josh at work.
What do you mean
Both,
as what it's like?
both of you are kind of new to town. Both of you are, you know, kind of like neck deep in probably the craziest thing that's ever happened at this church. Um, you share many hours at working at Bucky's, and probably I'm willing to bet Josh, probably doesn't have a car. Um, doesn't, neither of you have a lot of people that allies within the church or even in town. So how could the two of you kind of maintain a connection? Um, I mean, it's only by chance. Well, I don't know. Would it be by chance? Um, it could be that Marsha got hired on as a manager. Maybe she had some experience doing that back home. Um, and then she helped to get Josh hired, you know?
Right. If she was the hiring manager at the time, then bringing me on board would make sense.
Yeah. And that would bring us closer, like when we're at work, Marcia spends a lot of time around Josh. He's her
So,
favorite.
uh, so how do you show him that he's your favorite?
I imagine he's been like promoted to quote unquote team lead, but it's not actually a pay raise or anything that the company is aware of. It's just what she calls him to all the rest of the coworkers. But like Bucky's regional management doesn't know there's a team lead at this store. Is that fair?
Yeah, like it. So like I give him my keys to do stuff all the time.
Hmm. This is very I feel like this is very triggering for me and Kimmy. We used to work together at the movie theater.
Yeah.
So interesting. Okay. So he's favored. Everyone can kind of see that Josh, this new guy, gets gets to be uh well, I mean, gets to have, quote unquote, gets to have more responsibility. I mean, I don't know how much of a prize that is, but I guess it also involves some freedom, right? Like, um,
I'm sure better shifts,
better shifts, okay, right?
easier
Um,
work.
easier
We
work.
probably do like daily one-on-ones too, where he gets to come off of the floor and go into her manager office for like 20 to 30 minutes, where I like do the secret report on everything that's going on in the front end of the store.
Juicy. Okay.
Yeah. But it also means that's 20 to 30 minutes he's not out there like helping the rest of the team like he's supposed to be.
I'm
So
sure the
everyone
rest of
hates
the
that.
team loves it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Great way to make friends in your new town. So it's been a long Bucky's day. For those of you that are not familiar, these uh establishments we probably should have like made one up now that I'm thinking about it, but um we can say it's like Rockies or something. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. So you work at this place, and for those of you that are not familiar, these places are super busy. People are coming in and out by the hundreds as they travel from west from out west towards Houston, as they travel from Houston to out west. Uh, Locals treat this place like a hangout spot. Uh, there's um, icy machines, and there's hey. Oh my God, was that me?
No, that was
Okay.
my text message from
Oh
my
my God,
phone
I was
notifying me
like,
that I got a text. I
is this haunted?
will mute that. I'm very sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. And there's icy machines, there's wall after wall of like refrigerated soft drinks, all kinds of snacks, candy, uh, beaver themed souvenirs as far as the eye can see, and the most beautiful and clean, uh, like clinically, medically clean bathrooms you've ever experienced in your life. That is the main draw for people traveling. Um, at the end of the day, it's exhausting. I imagine that as part, I mean, I would posit or suggest that like you've aligned your shifts so that um, you know, at the end of the night, um, Josh finishes up, clocks out or whatever, hangs around and waits for Marcia to finish up and, close the day out.
Hmm.
And then the two of you carpool.
Yeah.
And by carpool, I mean Marcia takes you home, Josh.
Yeah, for sure.
So the two of you have lived this very weird experience. Marcia is giving a little bit, I don't know, I'm feeling like she's giving work mom a little bit. You are um, you know that she's not as like in as, let's say, Ethel, who has been brought up in this church. What is it like when the two of you are driving home?
I'm sure if I turn on the radio, it's some Christian radio station.
Okay. Like Christian rock or gospel or
It's playing
Oh,
Carmen.
not
what?
Christian rock, like Christian. I think is it like Christian pop?
Or pop folk?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like, yeah, okay. So what's Carmen?
Oh, you guys
Yeah.
don't know who Carmen is? Okay, I
No.
guess I was more Christian than some folks. He
A
was
different
Yeah.
kind of Christian.
he was a guy who looked like Papa John's, and he sang all of the music. He would do like big band, like kind of like Zoot Suit Riot esque stuff when that was popular. He did rap music, and so it was Papa John's in like Janet Jackson's Dance Nation style music videos. He was a big deal during the '90s. It was just Google Carmen musician and enjoy.
Ah, I see. 1991 album, Addicted to Jesus.
Yeah, he was very
Thanks.
prolific,
All right.
and he did it all. So
So you're cranking up, your pop contemporary gospel. And it's probably nighttime. Um, you are far away enough from um the kind of metropolitan centers of Austin and Houston and San Antonio, where you can look up and actually see like a smattering of stars, um and uh especially in between the street lights, which are further apart out here than they might be um in the city. Joshua, you don't feel do you f- like, what do you think you can share, or how do you think you can share some of your, like, I remember you were kind of had some doubts when you were talking to Ethel. Would you share that with Marcia? How, or would you continue to kind of hide out?
Not
Or
unless she shared some with him.
okay.
Because he lives with Ethel, he trusts Ethel a little bit more,
Hmm.
but would do his best to be like the best he can be in Marsha's eyes. Does that make sense? Because she's his manager. I
Mm,
see him more like wanting to make sure she's happy with him and wouldn't want to like let her know there's any sort of doubt in him unless she has some doubt, then he has all the doubt that she has.
okay.
Is that he's a good little fascist.
power dynamic.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because you're sort of performing
Exactly.
for
Exactly.
these.
He's going to like mask and mirror to whoever is the authority at that time and kind of kowtow to it with Ethel because they live together. It's more of a mutual understanding and he can be a little bit more honest because she's an old bitch who ain't gonna do anything to him, you know?
Mhm.
That like she isn't really his family. She's just a nice old lady who took him in.
Right.
But like his manager at work or like a preacher at church or like an elder in the community, no, you tell me, sir or ma'am. And yes, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am.
So what do you think, Marcia? How do you think you relate to Josh? How old is Josh?
It's like 19.
Marcia, how old is Marcia?
She's like 31, 30.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
31.
So you're driving him home. What is that conversation like?
I think I would be asking, I would be telling him, I got Noemi. She's gonna come to church on Sunday because she read in the paper, about all the visions that everyone was seeing. Um, how's Ethel doing? Has she had any more visions? Is she okay?
She seems to be okay. I don't know about having more visions.
Has she ever had visions before? Was this her first time?
I think it was her first time. I think it was most people's first time. I think she's done tongues before, but not like visions like that.
I wish I could have been there to witness her vision.
Yeah, you ever have visions like that?
No. Have
Hmm.
you?
No, not like that.
You've got to be lucky to have visions like that. I mean, that's the Lord speaking to you.
Yeah, of course. We'd all love to speak to the Lord, huh? Even if it's like that.
Mm. Can't wait for
So,
church on Sunday. I want to know if more people have had visions by then.
You wanna come inside and talk to Ethel when we get there? She might have had one while we were at work. I don't know.
You think she'd mind if I asked her about it?
She's a part of the church. I'm sure she'd be happy to share her spiritual experiences with another member.
All right, if she's up and she don't mind talking about it, I'd love to hear it.
yeah, so the two of you arrive, and you um, come in to the house. Ethel is awake. She is sitting in the let's say she's sitting in the living room. She's got like a big mug with like a little the tail of a tea bag kind of hanging out the side. Um, she looks pleased to see the two of you kind of coming in together. Well, Joshua, Marsha, y'all have a good shift tonight?
Quiet as usual, Ethel. How's your time here?
Oh, quiet. I just spent it uh reading my Bible as I typically do. Um, Marsha, Joshua, y'all hungry? Um, I made chicken and biscuits earlier.
Yeah, that'd be great. You wouldn't mind if I talked to you about your experience that you had this past Sunday, would you?
Oh, my darling, of course you can. I would love to tell you about it. Come on, let's go sit down in the kitchen, all three of us. Ethel brings out like this massive pot of biscuits and gravy, or I'm sorry, of chicken and dumplings or chicken and biscuits, and it is like everything is the same kind of like white beige color. Um, if she will insist on you eating. Does anyone reject it?
No.
Okay.
No.
And it literally tastes like flour and water with like a whisper of chicken. It's probably one of the most flavorless and insipid things you've ever eaten in your life.
Oh, I imagine he just covers it in hot sauce, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Like Josh just goes to the fridge and just takes red hot out and just dumps like half of it on there, so it's mostly red hot.
She's
Marsha
used
would
to it.
say it's just like her mama used to make it.
Oh, without a single speck of seasoning.
Right?
Oh, beautiful.
Just like how mom made it. Horrible. Horrible, awful experience my whole
So the three of you enjoy a meal, and Ethel shares, kind of like the basics of her experience of seeing heaven, of feeling the presence of the Holy Spirit, seeing her ancestors greeting her in heaven. Um, what else do you want to know, Marcia? What you got questions about what the kingdom of heaven will be like?
Well, you've described it. It just sounds wonderful, and has this ever happened to you before? Have you ever had these visions before?
I've never had a vision in this way, no. Um, but a long time ago, when I first bought this house, I did have some strange dreams. Nothing like this. Nothing quite so real. I hate to. It's interesting that you asked this, Marcia. I hate to bring it up and to share this with the two of you. But Marcia, I know that you are a righteous woman. For the little bit of time that I've known you and my Josh, I've come to trust in him a great deal. Um, it's whenever I first bought this house, I get the feeling that there was some kind of dark entity attached to it. Do you know what I mean by that?
Like like a demon?
Well, maybe it could have been a demon or a ghost or a devil. I, I don't know. I couldn't say. Um, Culver, Minister Culver came by a few times and said prayers, and it wouldn't stop. The the dark dreams. I used to dream about the old Cavassos man. You know, you know who I'm talking about? Oh no, you two couldn't possibly know. Um, he owned this house before I moved in, and he he was a sick man. Something happened to him. Uh, he passed. I'm not really sure what happened to him, but I would see him in my dreams, and it frightened me terribly. Then, just as soon as it began, it stopped, and I think it was the power of prayer that ended those dark visitations. Don't y'all think so?
That and Pastor Culver coming over and praying over your house, you think?
Yeah, it must be because soon thereafter it lifted, and now look at me, years later, being blessed, and like her eyes well up with tears, and she's kind of like weeping openly now
Oh, Marcia's
to
gonna grab her hands and hold them.
to be chosen to witness the truth of our church. It's a great honor. And so, um, the three of you can finish your meal. You say your kind of like a final prayer before, um, Marcia, you can head home, and Josh off to bed. And so the last link that I'm curious about is Freya and Marcia. The two of you, paired by the will of the council, it's God's plan, really. Marcia, you tried to get in touch with Freya, and you got a very cruel response, which was a rejection hotline. You've received a text from Nayeli Young, one of the higher ups at the church, one of the kind of women leaders. The text reads, "Hey Marcia, how are things going with Freya?"
Is this something we talked about last time? Because I thought I addressed that I was hadn't reached out to her yet, and then I reached over to her on Sweet Space.
Okay.
I made
So,
that comment that haven't been able to
oh, the
get in touch.
gifts. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a beat then. So you received that, let's say you received that text in the morning, some morning. We'll kind of rewind and see what Freya's response to kind of receiving an open public message is like.
So Freya would know she's kind of screwed because it's out in the public. It's people can see it, her parents can see it, everyone's gonna know. So her response is to quickly respond with I'm so sorry, maybe you wrote down the wrong number. I'll get in touch with you soon. And then after that, she would honestly text her number, but she would probably like put some ringtone to it or some noise to specifically Marsha's number so that way she knows when to avoid her phone.
I have a question, point of order.
Yeah,
Do does James have Freya's number or no? Are we not that close cousin wise?
that's up to y'all.
She probably would have his number and vice versa, like just yell out many numbers.
Okay. Then I think, like, brain space wise, I've been thinking about it like the whole time. Like, while he's smoking cigarettes alone in that room, he's thinking to himself, the source of this information is her. I don't have any answers. And she was at the scene of the van accident. So I'd send her a text saying, "Hey Freya, if you're not busy either tomorrow or Saturday, can we meet up at the office here so I can take some information down regarding your experience with the accident? If you don't feel comfortable, it's fine. Just would like to catch up with you and also get some info for the paper." He probably texts like old school style, like old people on Facebook always put like, you know, thanks, comma dad, or thanks, comma James, right? Like he even though it's not writing a letter, he does it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
So he'd send that Thursday.
that's
This would be Thursday, like early evening.
that's chuggy.
Freya would Say sure. Like she honestly gets tired of being around all the people in the church, and it's nice to have a breath of fresh air that, she's got friends outside the church, but no one understands how stifling it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no one can um really no one can really relate to the weirdness of it, right? The claustrophobia of it.
Hmm.
Well, so Nayeli, just text you, Marcia. How's it going um with Miss Miss Freya? And so far, the way it's going with Freya is you connected once via text, but any other kind of attempts to connect, she's just like not responding.
Um, I wouldn't have said that to her directly. I would have
Okay.
been like, we've kind of reached out and, we haven't uh gotten together face to face yet. I'm hoping maybe after Sunday service we can get to know each other a little better.
Um, Nayeli responds, "Thank you, Marcia, for agreeing to share your devotion and your testimony of your experiences with the Holy Spirit with uh, with our Freya. Um, you may be new to our congregation, um, but you're already making an impact by how uh, how much you're willing to um, by how you're willing to open yourself to the Spirit and to the will of God. Um, you know, I'm I personally am also trusting you to make that deep bond with Freya. So let's talk the Monday after church and see how things are going.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Are there any women's groups maybe we can all get together and be a part of and meet weekly?
Uh,
Is that something y'all do here?
yeah, that's a great idea. There's a Bible study club, there's a book club, and there's a recipe swap. So we can talk about you and Freya maybe joining one of those.
Yeah, I like that. I would like that.
Okay. I like how we're just kind of planning Freya's life.
I mean, she's used to it.
uh, that's great. Okay. So, James, you shoot Freya a message. Hey, let's get together. Do you want to get together before church, right?
Yeah, Friday or Saturday would be preferred.
Okay.
Whatever she's free. Or if she doesn't have to, if she doesn't want to.
I think Saturday would probably be her, you know, choice. Just to get out of the house a little bit, to get out of her dorm, maybe get off campus and try not to think too much about the church for a little bit. Or
Great.
that's what she thinks, at least.
Yeah, great. You pull up. Miss Gemma is in the are we what time of day?
Yeah, it would probably be like lunchtime. So we might
Hmm.
actually, like, get food brought up or like go get food down at the bar. The bar food is pretty good. I was going to ask a question too. This
Mhm.
is for Robin. Um, or Gijo, if you have thoughts on it. My dad's wife passed away relatively early in James's life. Who is the connective tissue, right? So is my dad related to one of her parents, or was my mom related to one of her parents? Are
I
we
think
first cousins? Also, is I guess another question that's important. I would assume so. Yeah.
Yes.
If I'm
I
staying
would
over at your
say we're
house.
first cousins.
Yeah. If I'm staying over at your house when my dad's not able to keep me, yeah, that second cousins is usually not the case. Okay. Cool. 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 But then for
Yeah, I mean, we could do the connection being your dad's connected to like my dad, they're brothers. That
yeah.
might make more sense for why there's still a strong connection even after, his wife passed.
For the last name, because of the last name is different,
It's
I
gonna
think it'll
have to
make
be segmented. Yeah.
yeah, so well no, no, no.
Oh.
So Freya, if your mom is sisters with James's dad, that
There we go.
that works. So the name that I gave your mom, Freya, is Marlinda.
Okay.
Are you okay with Marlinda?
Yep.
Or did you have another name in mind?
Um, no, Marlinda works fine.
Okay. How about a name for your dad?
Um, oh God, I'm terrible at guy names.
I have Dale.
Bill.
Um,
Dale.
Yeah.
View,
Dale and Marlinda.
Dale. Gotcha.
How's that?
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess it just yeah. If it was my mom's relation, like yeah, Ty wouldn't be as connected anymore. So that makes sense.
So
Okay.
your dad's what is your dad's name, James?
My dad's name is Kyle.
And what is your mom's name?
My mom's name was I never gave it any thought. So first,
Susie.
Susie.
Okay.
I was just gonna be like, go to the chat.
So now you have so you Marlinda and Kyle are their your grandparents are Marvin and Kathy.
Got it.
All right. So it's lunchtime. Um m- uh Gemma has dumped an entire sack of tater tots into the auto fryer
Fuck me up.
and and has like a big pot of uh like in Texas, we call it queso or whatever. It's just like melted
Yeah.
cheese or whatever with like hot sauce mixed in. And she has uh like a couple of pounds of brisket from like the local barbecue place. And that's kind of what she's prepped for your lunch.
Yeah, I'll buy two. I'm assuming it's the styrofoam containers full, and we'll just go ahead and
Sure.
take those bad boys on up to the office. When she gets in, basically, I'll just go up and order while she's kind of standing on side, and then kind of go up there with her.
All right, honey, y'all enjoy.
Will do. Um,
Thanks.
Sit down at the desk, kind of look at the recording device, look at the food, probably silently kind of just go through the food. I don't think James is much of a talker when it comes to like he's a very focused individual, but if Freya wants to say anything over what I assume is amazing fucking food. um, bar food, man. I guess it hits different when you're drunk, but
Yeah, no, lunch is poppin'.
okay, okay, all right. No wonder I live here or I work here. All right.
It's sinful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So like y'all are used to like the church meals are probably like very insipid, very underseasoned. Like flavor is sort of this dark luxury the devout don't have a need, right, to like for that kind of pleasure. Um, so think Ethel's cooking. So this Freya to you is kind of like a flag of rebellion.
Freya would just really enjoy it. She like wouldn't try to start conversation aside from just like commenting on how amazingly good everything tastes and how it's so much better, not only from the church, but even from like her comments where, they go and they get food at school, it's not that great.
Right. It's like steamed Brussels sprouts and like,
Hmm.
okay.
And I guess like the mental play here, because James is a journalist through and through, right? He pays
Hmm.
attention to the details. So we all got given buddies at the dinner, and she was given Marcia.
Hmm.
And Marcia in James's mind is literally the goody two shoes, like not like you know by any stretch of the imagination, like I don't think he's going to think that she's going to be the one that Freya's reporting on, right?
Right, 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 right.
In this,
It's very clear
the
to every
dynamics.
single person in the church that Freya is like the lost sheep and that Marcia is the shepherd.
So James continues with the signaling and
Hmm.
kind of flexing actually. So once his container's finished and the food's all done and tucked away, and maybe before she's like finished with hers, he opens up his side drawer, pulls out an old style ashtray, like those really nice like metal ones, right? And he says, "Do you mind if I smoke?"
She would just laugh and ask, are you vying for my spot as a black sheep?
Nobody knows, Freya. That's the difference between you and me, really. Uh, he's, he says as he pulls out a pack of,
Yeah.
probably the coolest of cigarettes. Like, I think he does it, it's definitely a thing that he does. It's like the food, right? I think it's an indulgence. So, like, he's definitely smoking kind of more top dollar cigarettes here. It's not like,
Hmm.
Marlboros or like, Mavericks or something. Like, he's smoking some classy cigarettes that he got at, like, the smoke shop with the Native American statue out front, right?
Hmm.
Because they've got those in Texas too, right? They got them here in
Yeah,
Indiana,
sure.
and so he'll smoke and he'll gesture to the recording. I don't really think there's going to be much you're going to be able to tell me that Willow wasn't able to kind of elucidate regarding the story I'm crafting. I really just wanted to talk to you about something I've been hashing over in my mind over and over again, and it keeps coming back to me because of that the van. When I pulled Mario out, he was speaking a really strange language. When he was having those visions about a wasteland with holes and eyes in them, he was saying some things before that in this really weird tongue. And I'm an educated guy. I know you're going to college, and you're what are you majoring in?
So she's majoring in English.
Oh, English. Okay. Well, I guess it's a language, but yeah. So he kind of pulls out his his journal, leather bound, notepad inside. Really just simple, rugged thing. Turns it around and shows you the written words, phonetically rewritten a couple of times in different ways that he thinks could like phonetically match what was said, and it's what Mario was saying. But next to that are the words he can remember from your parents. Does any of that make sense to you?
I feel like there'd be that little itch, like when you're trying to remember a word, but you can't, like it's on the tip of your tongue, but at the same time, you're so far from actually knowing what it is that you might as well not even bother. Um,
I
she would have that feeling, but she would shake her head like, no, like, this is just ridiculous stuff. They were probably on drugs. They were probably doing something illegal. It,
I would say
You're
that.
putting too much thought into this.
I would say that, Freya, but the words over here, he gestures to the ones that on the side, ashes into the ashtray and says, I didn't hear those from Mario, this side. Heard those when I was a lot younger, back when I was a teen, staying over at your house. You remember those times?
If you say so, like I remember you staying over, but I don't know where you would have heard those words. Maybe my parents said them. They could
It,
be fanatics, let's be honest.
yeah, it was your parents. But Freya, I'm having a hard time piecing together my memories on it, and flashes of it keep popping back in my head because of this van accident. And I swear to you, and I don't mean this to be weird, I don't want you to feel scared or anything. I just need you to know, because I'm the only one who knows, and it's killing me inside. They were praying this words over you while you were sleeping, when you were not more than a toddler, a baby. I didn't know who to tell. It wasn't long after, um, I was getting ready to go to college myself, become a journalist. So I kind of just, I guess I followed it up, didn't even think about it. I think I mentioned it to my dad, but I don't remember what he said about it. Didn't talk to your parents about it because I was scared of them. The way they said the things they were saying wasn't, I don't know, it just seemed malicious, I guess, or like, I don't know why they were doing it. You were just a kid.
Freya would pause for a second. She is definitely getting scared. The complete opposite of what she was told to do, of course, because shit's scary. And after a moment, she would just laugh and, nice joke, we barely get to see each other, and this is how you want to spend our time. Like, okay, haha, real funny.
Freya,
Wait, wait, Freya, do you look at the journal that he's showing you?
She does, and like she sort of kind of recognizes the words, but at the same time, not enough to decipher them.
Do you try? I mean, do you like, do you push? Because you feel that itch. You feel that itch, and if you like, are you kind of like flexing your mind muscle to like recall?
Now, I
Be
think like there's
okay,
also that sense of foreboding for some reason that's with that
mhm.
itch that she doesn't quite understand, but like her gut just says, don't push, just let it be.
Okay, go ahead and roll for your obsession.
Obsession. Well, that didn't work.
Well,
So I'm gonna take three hold, and I'm gonna spend one right now. You can make a choice right now. You can either choose to swallow that urge to kind of like pick at the scab and uh take two stability damage, or you can pick at the scab because your obsession has been with recovering your memories, and like all of a sudden your cousin is putting it kind of like is putting this like very curious like clue in front of you.
I would like to say too, like if you go for option one, I don't see her sticking around. Like I see her like retreating from this, right?
Well,
Like,
let's see what the beat
okay,
carries. So, what do you want to do, Freya? Do you want to
Hmm.
flex your mind and like try to recall, or do you want to swallow it up and take stability damage?
I think she might want to flex, but maybe
Okay.
not share that information.
Okay. So internally, you allow for a bit of like an attempt to recall. Go ahead
Hmm.
and roll to see through the illusion.
Okay,
Yes. Oh, nice.
got it. 15
Everything,
success.
everything you had lost in that moment is sort of like comes spilling out into you like like a fountain of memory. Um, you recall many times throughout your childhood, your parents kind of never really doing anything that was like outright abusive or cruel or dangerous. But you have memories of them kind of setting you down on the floor in kind of like a state of half sleep, encircling you with um, like a like a big chalk circle. Then your parents, the Culvers, um, chanting around you. You remember a couple of nights out in the country, uh, a great bonfire burning while your parents and other church elders um, kind of bellowing out into the night words that you cannot piece together. And you remember even nights within the last month, within the last year, where those long white hands would kind of stretch at your windowsill, or like you could see them reaching underneath uh, the space below the door, um, reaching at the edge of your bed, never quite touching you. All of that floods into you in this moment as you sit um, across the table from your cousin.
If so, if she, hmm.
Freya, you
Can I
okay?
roll a keep it together to see how she reacts?
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
let's do that. That's a great. Thank you. Good call.
I imagine if there was like a pause, if there was a pause there, he probably asked her if she was doing okay.
Well, okay, so Freya has like a Raven Simone moment where she's like, and like we zoom out and we see all of these like disturbing things, and then the strain is too much. Um, you I don't think that I wanna, well, I don't know, maybe this is life-changing trauma. Do we so we have two options. You can take two stability damage, or you can take four stability. I think this has been so disturbing and crazy that I'm willing to say that it's four. Freya, do you agree?
I think it'd be four because this is a lot of shit to remember all at once.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's pretty horrific.
yeah, and the hands alone I think would be enough to cause some stability damage, but with the
Yes.
added aspect, like the added creepiness of her parents chanting over her and the church being involved more in her life than she remembered, like it would be really unnerving to say the least and really traumatic.
Okay. So go ahead and take four stability damage. Um, so you're now at distressed. Um,
Yep.
uh, James, you clock it immediately. Like you see your cousin go from like, oh, ha, very funny, what a cute joke, practical joke, James, the jokester, and then all of a sudden she goes Raven Simone, and then the next moment she's like, looks distressed.
Freya, you okay?
She just be quiet for a minute. She might just be shaking a little bit, and
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked you to come out. I'm so sorry. I just didn't know what to do.
she just
Everything.
gets up really quickly. She's like, I
I
need some air.
I understand.
I need a moment.
Yep. Um. If if you want me to come with you, I can. If you want me to stay here, it's fine too.
Do what you want. I just can't.
I
And
want to.
she just kind of walks off.
You'll kind of
She doesn't care, honestly, if he follows or not. She's just, her mind is in shambles at the moment.
put the cigarette out carefully, making sure it's all no embers. Put it in the wooden desk, and then head out after her. Probably putting on his hat as he kind of gets outside. Just
Yeah, you
stands near her, like he's not saying anything. If she says go away, he's gonna, but he just wants to be with her if she has anything to say because he feels like whatever just happened right then, right? Like I'm on the verge of getting somewhere with this, and I think the truth is the most important thing to him right now, right? And so
yeah.
yeah, he's gonna hover. He's gonna be a bit awkward.
Well, Freya, you step out into the blazing heat, the sanitizing sunlight of Texas at midday, and
Mhm.
you know, you step out, and then right there are the stairs going down to the bar. Do you go down the stairs, or do you just hang up on the landing?
She hangs up on the landing, not wanting other people to see her like this, even if she doesn't know them that well
Okay.
or see them that often, even if they're complete strangers. She feels really vulnerable right now.
Okay.
In James's mind, like as he's waiting for the next shoe to drop, he's also in the back of his mind formulating the story, right? Because we're in downtown, right? There's going to be people that see this. So he's just going to say, I brought her over to tell her a story about the van. It was a really traumatic experience for her. She needed a breath of fresh air. It wasn't anything like, yeah, because it's a small town. People talk, right?
Yeah, yeah. So you're thinking like if somebody drives by and sees like Freya,
What was
like
she doing there?
what's she doing there? Yeah,
Oh, I was
yeah.
just
And you
getting a
could
bit more story like I did with Willow, so I
right,
could tell
right.
the best story for the church, which I'm going to
Exactly.
give them before. It's obviously not going to mention any of this shit, but like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Freya takes a couple breaths, like does a little deep breathing, and you can tell like she's still really shaken up. She's still really upset, but she's trying to get some words together. She doesn't want to be alone. She is glad that James followed her out. But she doesn't want to admit it either. She's too cool for that. So instead, she just kind of holds onto the railing of the stairs and just asks, like, "All right, you really don't know anything about this. You're except the chanting. You said you saw chanting once. Is that all you saw?"
I think it was a couple times. I can't remember for certain. See, the thing is so long ago. I'm kind of having a mental block myself, and I'll be honest with you, Freya. The more you tell me, the more I think I'll be able to put the pieces together in my own head. But if it's hitting you as hard as it is, I don't even know if I want to go down that road. So I just want to know if you need someone out there with you and with whatever you're dealing with, just let me know. No, I'm not going to write it down. I'm not going to put it on any records. It's just going to stay right in here. And if we are able to, at some point later on down the road, sit down in a place where we're not feeling like people are watching, or we're feeling like we can't be ourselves, and you want to take the time to tell your story, I'd be happy to write it down.
I feel like she does laugh a little and she's just like chokes and she's like, they're always watching. The church is always around.
Oh, I know.
It's too much right now. I need some time to think.
I get it.
And maybe I'll text you, maybe a couple days. I don't know.
Hold on.
I'll see you Sunday.
Hold on. Now, I know you got the phone with the church deal. They'll probably be
Mm-hmm.
able to scope out any messages you have that.
Oh yeah.
So it's probably not a good idea to talk to me like that on there. You got another phone? Or computer
No,
at
like
school that's
it,
not connected?
not. I guess I could use one of the school computers. There's a computer lab. I think it's open to anyone in the library.
Pull out my journal, take and grab a piece of paper that's blank, write down my crawler username, rip it out.
Mm.
You can message me on that. It's on crawler. Um, and I know I gave you an understanding here that, yeah, I'm a bit worldly. I kind of picked it up in college, and I'm sure you're probably going through a lot of the same stuff. You may not be believing everything the church has been saying. I'm not saying I do, or I'm not saying I don't, but I'll tell you this. Um, the most important thing to me on this is the truth. And I feel like I'm getting handed a load of bull on a lot of this when it comes to the church. Where
Especially
coming
by
from.
Willow was a big liar.
Especially that Willow. They're a big liar.
Yeah.
Well, would James have clocked that? I mean, like, because again, like, Willow is a big liar, but again, I, the player, know that. But does James?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Yeah, Willow's a big liar. Phony!
I think at this point, like things are getting strung together in a way where you can, like, I don't know that you could say Willow's a big liar, but you know that Willow has lied to you.
Willow's fake. Willow is very fake. And I know they paired you with Marsha, so you're probably going to be expecting a lot of the same. They don't know any better. It's the way they were raised. So,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know what to do about Marcia. We can talk about it later.
whenever you're
You
ready.
know, yeah, I just need to go back to my dorm.
Okay. Yep. And yeah, just reach out to me on there if you have anything you want to add to it. If you want to get in touch with me at any point, I'm either here or I'm at home, my dad's house. So you just keep in touch, okay? I'll see you at church on Sunday. Or maybe not. But you'll probably have to hear an earful of it from Marcia at some point if you don't show.
I feel like her instinct would be to go back to her dorm,
Mhm.
try to like get herself composed, and then go to the computer lab and just start searching anything she can find on like white hands or mysterious chanting, church rituals.
Mhm.
Just because she has this obsession now that she just needs more information. Someone has to know what's going on out there. No, this can't be like only her.
Perfect. So I want you to go ahead and make a check. Not a check, a move.
I'm
Make an
so sorry.
investigate move. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm so sorry, Robin, for forcing stability damage and all of that stuff.
Oh, you're fine. Like
Okay.
it plays better.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
No, it was beautiful. Roll to investigate.
Success.
You succeed. You may ask 2 questions. Of the 2.
Okay. How can I find out more about what I'm investigating?
Okay, and question 2.
Um, what is my gut feeling about what I'm investigating?
Perfect. So you hit the library. You are, you're like Google, you're like searching the databases. You're pulling books out. You are doing microfiche, right? Where you like load
Mhm.
in the little thing, and you're like dragging like through old newspaper articles, and you realize that there have been um weird rituals associated with your church um since its inception in the 1900s. um the church suppresses any mention of it, calls it rumors, bigotry, religious bigotry, lies made up by opponents of the church. But early eyewitness accounts include some of the some of the experiences that you describe. Never the chalk outline circle, not quite that. Never the white hands, um, but definitely mentions of practices that are currently not utilized by the church, and that are denied and have been denied by the church in the last couple of decades. Um, you have a strong you do find out also through your research that the church keeps its own historical um, database. This is something that they do not publicize to the to their flock. In fact, it is kind of one of the reasons that one of the articles you find, it calls your church a cult, because they hide their own church histories and don't tell. It's like it's like knowledge that's available to people outside of the group if they like Google
Mhm.
it, but unless you know what to look for, you know and Googling and doing research about the church is very discouraged and prohibited. So very few people outside of the church ever find out that there is like a church archive. And do you believe that that is where you can find out more about what you're investigating? And your gut feeling is that you are going to find out a lot of uncomfortable truths about your community and your family. And on that note, we will end tonight. Great job, everybody. We will see you all next week for another installment of Hymns of the Heretics. Good night.